Okay, welcome back again. This is a second part of our catch up with Lucas Brown from British Talent Cup. As I say, we're going to put this into a couple of instalments to try and keep things short and sweet, otherwise it'll be a bit of a long side. We've just been speaking, Lucas, about rounds 3 and 4 of the championship at Knockhill and Snetterton. Obviously, moving on from there, round 5 took us to Brands Hatch down the road, or the home circuit, so to speak. Yeah. And of course, it was on the legendary long circuit, on the GP circuit. Bit gutted really, because it's weekend I went away on holiday, otherwise I'd have been down there myself. Absolutely love Brands. How did that weekend go for you?
It wasn't too bad, to be fair. I was pretty pacey all weekend. I qualified in 11th, which wasn't great. We didn't really get a great qualifying session. But then, race 1 was wet. So I went out there with a bit of confidence, thinking I could almost win the race. And then got caught in a battle for 3rd. And then unfortunately got slipped into the line, so I lost that. But then for race 2, I think I got a decent start. Made my way up to the front of the pack, and then tried to go with the leaders. They had a little bit of a gap, so I couldn't quite go with them. And then I managed to sort of match their times and pull away from the rest of the field. And then someone in front of me crashed, and I ended up in 4th.
Yeah, I mean, those 2 really good, solid results, really, and valuable points in the championship. Because I think you left Brands. Was that at that point you were up to 5th, or were you still in 6th at that time?
I think I was about 6th or 7th.
Okay, but it's another good, solid haul of points. And Brands is one of those circuits, isn't it? It's kind of, when it's dry, absolutely fantastic. When it's wet, it can be treacherous, let's just say. But once a dry line appears, offline it can be soaked, but that dry line, especially around, I think it's 30s as you go out onto long circuit, and Paddock Hill, and bottom of Graham Hill Bend as well as you come down from Drury's, isn't it? Once a line appears, you guys can obviously start pushing it a bit more, and that's where you make use of your corner speed.
Yeah, it actually been newly resurfaced, or like most of the Indy track, and so it was quite slippery on the wets, but made it through. And
you're saying that you're disappointed with the qualifying time, which, just looking up at the prompt there, was qualifying in 11. But I think if I remember looking at the timing sheets, they're all very close. There wasn't a lot of a gap. I mean, it's literally less than a second between quite a lot of you, wasn't there? So it wasn't like it was a big gap between P1 and P11 in qualifying. Everyone was running pretty much the same pace, if I remember right.
Yeah, no. It's always fairly tight, but I think once you start, or like once I start getting sort of down that way, I'm not really happy with my results, because it's now my 3rd year, so I want more.
Yeah.
No.
But that more's coming. Just look behind you. Just remind yourself of that. That's the thing.
Yeah.
Okay, so I think what we'll do is we'll move on in a moment. So from moving on from Brands Hatch, obviously your sponsors there helping you out, and I think a couple of guys from Helmet City came down to see you at Brands.
Yeah.
And hopefully they were suitably impressed by what they saw.
Yeah, hopefully.
So if you're watching Helmet City or Showy, this young man could do with a new lead at some point in the near future, I'd say. So we'll see what we can do. Obviously your sponsors making it possible for you. Any mentions that you'd like to give out?
I'd like to thank Amphibian Scaffolding, Amphibian Apparel, Whiz Racing, Aratech, Rock Oil, NGK Spark Plugs, Facelift, Coverwell, Crawley Boxing Club, Muck Junkie, Helmet City, and MotoGusto, and S25 Racing.
Thanks a lot.